You watch Ring of Powers?
I did watch. It's done. It's over.
Season finale happened Thursday.
The first season, we have to wait, I think, maybe 2 years for the next one, but they did start filming it.
Cool.
Yeah, the season finale.
So there's gonna be spoilers here.
There's gonna be spoilers. It's coming out on Monday. If you're watching the Rings of Power and you haven't watched it yet, that's on you.
Yeah,
I mean, you should be watching it the day they come out. Okay, if you're watching it. So, I know some people wait a little bit. It's a few days. So, anyways,
so I was texting Connor about this, and I told him like, man,
I gotta talk to you about that too.
I hit a big spoiler.
How do you hit the spoilers?
So I'm on TikTok.
Okay.
All right.
As soon as you see Ring of Powers, what do? You watch it.
I watch it a little bit.
Why?
But if it's something I haven't seen,
who cares? Even if it's stuff that you've seen, you skip it. You never watch anything.
No, because it tricked me. The video was them like on the raft, and then it was like the cinematography on this was amazing, or it said something.
Skip it.
It said like
anything.
I can't believe I almost missed this, and so I was like, oh, on this episode maybe it was like a detail that we missed.
Anything, even if it was that, you skip it. Anything that has a sprinkle of Ring of Powers, even an ad, you skip. That's how you avoid spoilers. No matter what, you skip it.
It's never failed me before. This is the first time it's ever
that's
failed.
not true. You've seen spoilers for One Piece. Because you talk about it all the time. You're like, oh, I saw a spoiler for One Piece. Or like Naruto when we were watching
Yeah, but they're
Naruto.
always so far ahead. But it's not like really big spoilers. The big spoiler is
that was a massive spoiler.
That one was, but nothing in One Piece.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you're watching a show,
it's
no
just,
matter
I
what,
know what happens.
Yeah, you know what happens, obviously. But like, you're talking about for like lore reasons, like you already know.
Yeah, and like One Piece, it's like...
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about Lord of the Rings. But, yeah, obviously, they're, like, way, way ahead of where you guys are. But I just mean, like, for me, that's how I avoid spoilers. Is, like, even if it's an ad, I'm like, nah. I don't even care if it's a scene I've already seen and I know it is. Nah. Because I don't know what's at the end of it. Nah. Nope. That's how you avoid spoilers.
Okay. Hindsight's 20/20, so...
Now you know. And now you'll never... Because I feel like... that reveal was pretty big. But I will say, before it was revealed, you fucking knew who he was. Like, right when he got there. Because, like, a day later, he was, like, totally fine. And he, like, comes down in the forge.
He's already talking to Celebrimbor. He's looking at all this stuff. And then, like, he's giving him ideas. And then it was like, okay, if I didn't have that spoiler, I was like, okay, this guy is, like...
Right.
This guy's got to be. And then I also knew it was hard for me to like say like I know some of this stuff because I did get the spoil. But like at the beginning of the episode, they thought the stranger guy
was like, no, he's not.
No way. I honestly thought those three, the main one
was Sauron.
I thought that was Sauron looking for Gandalf to get rid of him.
I think a lot of people did because he's a shapeshifter and he's known to be like a very attractive elven man, and I thought that dude was Sauron.
I also think that was a woman because
it is a woman.
Yeah, because she has breasts.
It is a woman. I thought it was a guy.
I did too, until I saw the breast.
Right,
not like a breast under the clothes. She didn't actually take her top off.
She was like, "Whoa!" No, I thought that was Sauron, but when they were like, "Lords, we come to serve you, Lord Sauron," I was like.
No
okay,
way.
They're doing this to throw you off, to think that Halberd's not Sauron. I also, before this episode, we didn't talk about the other episodes because you watched them a little later.
Well, and then we weren't going to talk about it every episode on our show. Just
the last two episodes with the fight where they captured, what's his name? What did they call him?
That one,
Andor or whatever. And he says, "Do you remember me?" That's right when it clicked in my head. I was like, wait a sec. Why would he say that to him?
I thought it was just because he's in the Southlands and then like he kind of kicked him out of it. But now it's like making sense of like, well, he did try to kill Sauron probably.
Right, but he brings that up later on in the episode. Before he says, "I killed Sauron," he's attacked by Halberd. And Halberd goes, "Do you remember me? and he says no, and I think that's because he's shapeshift into Halberd, okay? And then when he's in the barn and he's talking to Galadriel and he says, I killed Sauron, that's when I was like, that's in that episode. I was like, Halberd's gotta be Sauron. Like, I was kind of putting things, like, that was my speculation. Halberd's, at this point, I'm like, okay, Halberd's Sauron. Because why would he say that in that context? And then they bring up that, and then, like, Halberd was like, how does he not remember me? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then in the new episode, when he's at the forge, and he's like, he's so touchy with everything. The mithril, just, like, fucking picks up the mithril, and Celebrimbor is immediately like, hey, give me that pack. That's mine.
Yeah.
Why are you touching my shit? I mean, he doesn't say it, but you can see it. Sauron he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's like, oh yeah, but he knows what he's there for. He's there to get into Celebrimbor's mind.
Yeah,
and he does. It works. And
like, even the king had like suspicions. They're like, wait, this
he's like, why would I wear this power?
No. Like, the whole, like, when Celebrimbor's like, I don't know what to do with this, and then he comes in and he's like supposedly nowhere near the expertise that
he's a southerner.
He's southerner blacksmith.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why don't you do it like this, where you're doing this, or like, instead of putting more force, do less force. And then the king was even like, how does this guy know, but not Celebrimbor, the guy
greatest
forger of all time.
Yeah. Smith of all time.
And he's just like, I don't know. He just gave me an idea.
Smith.
Yeah. So, that's when it starts to get.
Yeah, and he's also like, it's a power. Like, we need to use this power. We can use this power. And he's like, well, who would wear this power? And even the king was like, that's too much power for one person to wield. Even me. And I was like, man, this is getting pretty good. I actually really, really enjoyed that last episode.
I did too. I think a lot of people are just disappointed maybe with how boring it is, but at the same time, it's just this first season is just going to be set up. Just it is
now
what
that
it is.
You know who Sauron is, like 3 rings of power have already been created. Now we're going to probably see the dwarven rings made, and then we'll see the ring of the men probably last, and then they'll probably show obviously the forging of the ring.
Hey, I got a theory for you. This is kind of Lord of the Rings. So I have the extended version of the Lord of the Rings right now. So I've been watching those kind of alongside with this.
Yeah.
I kind of have this routine now. I'm not watching it the whole time, or like through one sitting.
Right.
Cause like, I go up and play video games around 8:00, and then after at like 10:00, I go down and I take Luke to, rock him to sleep. Well, then Lauren can start going to bed. Sure. But then that's when I watch either the Rings of Power or
whatever
the extended cut. So we know that like Sauron hates the dwarves because he could never like corrupt their minds.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, wouldn't the best person to give the ring to take to Mordor would have been Gimli, because he would have been too stubborn enough to not be corrupted by the ring.
Yeah, you would think. I think though that like the rings, they didn't corrupt they obviously didn't corrupt the elves, and they didn't corrupt the dwarves. They only corrupted the men. But I think that it still waned on everybody. You get what I'm saying? Because like, you can even see it with Celebrimbor and Galadriel, who gets one of the rings of power. And they're already kind of like, and Elrond notices it at the end of the episode, that there is a power to these rings that even the elves see as a power. I don't think it's fully corrupted. So I think like hobbits are I think it would still affect Gimli, but not to the extent that like everybody thinks it would. So yeah, it would still make sense for Gimli to take it. But I think,
that was just observation.
Yeah, of course.
The only reason that he won it was because
that's a good observation. So
the only reason he won it obviously is because like everyone couldn't agree on who to take it except the neutral party, which was the hobbits.
Right.
That was the
otherwise who knows what would have happened if like they weren't even there.
Right.
They say that like there's a bunch of lore where like, well, not lore, but like speculation, like what if Gandalf took the ring at the Shire and took the ring instead, and then they showed like what would have happened if he took it and all that. But as a whole, I think the show, if we get back to the actual Ring of Powers, as a whole, and this is a weird time for me watching it. You haven't seen Game of Thrones yet, House of Dragons. It's really weird for me because I'm watching House of Dragons and Rings of Power. So I'm comparing the two because they're both kind of like in that. I mean, House of Dragons it's a lot less magical.
Yeah.
'Cause it's more like realistic except for the fact that there's fucking dragons.
Yeah, that's about the only
like
magic. But then like, yeah, you go on.
So like watching them side by side has definitely taken away from Rings of Power for me. Because Game of Thrones as a whole, this season or this show, I think is way more entertaining, but that's because it's already an established thing. We already know who some of the characters are. Like we can get right into it and be like, okay, these are the Targaryens, they're doing this. Ring of Powers is a setup.
George R. R. Martin even said like, because he's more heavily involved in this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be 4 seasons too.
Because I think he was heavily involved in the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones, but then like they kind of started cutting him out. But he's heavily involved in this one, and he says like who's the King Versailles or whatever, who's the main. He says he likes the movie, the TV show version better than the one he created in the book.
He's adaptation.
He's like I think this like is a better character than mine.
My tummy. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I thought he did a fantastic job. Like, I think that whole character was so fucking cool. Like, there was not a point where I was like, nah. But the Rings of Power compared to that, Game of Thrones I think is better. Had I not seen Game of Thrones at the same time I was watching Ring of Power, though, I probably would like Ring of Power as much as I liked Game of Thrones right now. You get what I'm saying?
Honestly, like, it's kind of weird seeing this. Like, they're coming out the same time pretty much. Usually, like, movies, sometimes they see, like, what movies are being released on that date, and they go, well, we can't release it on that day because it's, like, kind of the same market, so we don't want to take away. Not that, like you're obviously going to watch both, but look how it might be affecting your review of it. You're like, well, this one's way better.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is fresh in my mind. This is way better.
Yeah. I would rather talk about Game of Thrones than the Rings of Power, which sucks because, like, I know Ring of Power is pretty good. Like, it's not bad. Yeah, there's some boring episodes, but, like, as a whole, I've really, really liked the characters. I've liked the new characters that they've added to the story. I don't feel like they're cheesy or, like, too much. I liked the creation of Mordor. Like, I liked seeing that. The Numenores are fucking sick. Like, I don't know. I like it. I thought the battle scenes that were in this season were really good, and I think they were even better than some of the scenes in The Hobbit by a long shot, but not so much the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The practical effect orcs are fucking brutally scary and really, really good. Like, well done. I like that they did practical effects. They would have fucked it up if they didn't do practical effects for the orcs. But with it being side by side Game of Thrones, like you said, it like hinders my review because I'm just having way more fun watching Game of Thrones. Like, I'm way more excited to watch Game of Thrones tonight than I was to watch Ring of Powers like on every Friday.
We also did get confirmation that the stranger was obviously is Gandalf.
We didn't get confirmation, but we did get very, very strong ties that it's Gandalf. Yes, because like there was never once a moment where they were like, "Oh, I'm Gandalf."
Yeah,
obviously he is called the Wise One, which is technically, I think, is Gandalf's like.
He's an They called him an Ishtar, which is one of the 5 wizards.
Isn't there 8? I think
there's only 5.
Wizards. But yeah, he could be one that we haven't seen. I don't think it is, but he could be one that we haven't seen of those 5 because we've only seen 3.
I'm pretty sure there's only 5 because that's why like there's the 5 hand of like Sauron that represented like each of the, because he's the leader of the council of the 5 Ishtar, which is like there's the 2 wandering blue wizards, there's
Radagast,
Sauron, and Gandalf.
Okay, maybe there is just 5 then. Yeah, I mean, well then it probably is Gandalf, but like it probably is Gandalf.
I was thinking it was Saruman for a little bit. Like he was like,
what were we talking about? Oh, you thought he was Sauron.
I thought that was Sauron, because like so Gandalf becomes Gandalf the White because Sauron fell to the darkness. Like he pursued like going after the darkness. That's why when he came back, he comes back as Gandalf the White, because that was him like, oh, he's taking Sauron's position. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe Sauron is in this. Dude, like that's his early stage as well.
That would make sense because he was sent to fight against Sauron, the light and the dark.
Like all the Ishtar they were all sent to fight the darkness.
Right, but they all come at different times, don't they?
Yeah. Like the blue wizards were there.
Isn't Radagast the oldest though, I thought?
I'd have to look it up. I don't quite remember. Yeah. Obviously Gandalf's the youngest.
Yeah, so because Gandalf comes in the Third Age.
Yeah, but I think it seems like this is Gandalf. But I also saw a theory of like why we're seeing all these characters so early in like the Second Age, like Isildur and his dad. I mean, obviously they were there when the Third Age ends, because the Third Age starts right when Sauron dies. It begins the Third Age, and obviously we're hundreds of years before that or so.
I think we're a few hundred years.
Yeah, and like Numenorians, they don't live for like hundreds of years, but they live like 80 is still like prime adult age.
Yeah,
I think, because that's like what Aragorn was. He was like in his 80s, almost 90s. They live longer, but I don't think that much longer. But I think they did that because I saw this theory where, like, well, if we don't like add these, like, put these characters in, kind of compress it down to for like just to help the story.
The normal consumer won't understand it.
Yeah, because like even in the Lord of the Rings, like when they go to Rivendell in the book.
Oh yeah, they're there for like 6 months.
6 months, but like in the movie,
they're there only for like 3-4 days.
Yeah, because they wanted to push the sense of urgency, and that's like, the movie needs to go on. They can't linger around as the book can. So I think they just like kind of compressed it to just, and just think of it. It's just an adaptation. It's not going to be like word for word.
It's funny you bring that up though. It's like people nowadays pick on that so much more. But like back in the day when Lord of the Rings came out, there's so many different things that are different in the adaptations, movies, than the books, or even the old television show. Like the old cartoon version.
I love those cartoon version. I love those things.
The Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. That was way, way closer to the books than it was anything. But like the movie, those 3 movies stray pretty far away from the books.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail. Like on their way to Rivendell, Sam and Frodo, I think they run into elves, which in the extended cut they see them, but I think they even interact with them, which they didn't in the even an extended cut.
Yeah, in the extended cut they see them, and Sam knows that they're leaving Middle Earth to go back to
Valinor.
Valinor, because I don't even remember. I think it's just because it was their time or some shit like that.
Yeah, well, I think they were like, that's why they want the Mithrils, because they're dying. They'll die off in Middle Earth. They have to go back to the light, and that Mithril was supposed to be like the thing that I don't know,
extended it.
Yeah, extended it. But yeah, also in the extended cut, they even go, which was pretty cool when they're in the Mines of Moria. Gandalf's like pretty much giving them this grand tour, and he's like, "Oh, the thing that the Mines of Moria were known for were not actually gold and jewels, but the Mithril." So I was like, man, that really lined up really fucking well.
Yeah,
because in the show, because like
it's not called, the reason it's called the Mines of Moria is because the elves deemed it that name. Mm-hmm. The actual name is like Khalisad or whatever. Yeah,
Cara-Dûm or something.
Like that. Cara-Dûm.
I don't know.
It's the one that we see in the Rings of Power. Mm-hmm. But the Mines of Moria just means like Mines of Darkness or something like that, which is what the elves deemed the name after, They dug too deep and made good old Balrog came up. A Balrog.
One of the Balrogs, yes.
People think that like his name is Balrog. It's not. That's what he is.
No, and like
he has a name.
In the first age when Morgoth was running around, because Morgoth was like he ruled over the Balrogs.
Yeah, there was tons of them.
Yeah, there were like tons of them, and then there was even like one Balrog that was like the captain of all Balrogs, and he was like an even bigger one.
Mm-hmm. And they all looked different, and they all had different, like, they were just demons. They all had different, like, style. But anyways, they, if you had to,
you know, Connor, you're really starting to sound like a freaking nerd.
I love Lord of the Rings, dude. It's the best. I love Lord of the Rings more than Star Wars. Like, I can easily say that.
Can you though? Can you easily say that?
Easily. I think Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but
I think
how
Tolkien's
easily?
world is way, way, way cooler. I wish there was more, and that's why I'm happy that they're doing more now. And Amazon has even made speculation that they're going to do more shows.
Ooh, you know what we should do for a Let's Play?
What?
When the second season of Rings of Power comes out, we should Let's Play the Return of the King game. I'm pretty sure
that'd be fun.
I'm pretty sure we can play it on.
That'd be fun. Or like Lego Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah, we could do that. I heard that one was deemed the best Lego game of all time.
I just bought it on the computer. Okay, if you had to rate the show though, we're pretty much at the end of the episode. There's another Lord of the Rings episode. Let's just throw out real quick. I can't wait for Mines of Moria. Anyways, so
that game's gonna be a banger.
yeah, see, it's another Lord of the Rings game. They're all good. Like
Katie, that might be one that like you would want to play with us too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember seeing the trailer with you guys.
Oh,
yeah,
I am
that's
so excited.
Crafting, a little bit of combat, a little bit of
forging your own gear and dwarven armor.
That's
Anyways,
what we need. Just get a fucking PC, man.
I know. I'm playing the crap out of that game. I don't care.
That
if
one's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to take all 8 episodes and you had to give it a rating, okay, we're gonna do like 1 to 10. What's your rating? 10 being the highest. 10 being like it's one of the best shows you've ever watched.
I'm gonna be kind of brutally honest with it. I'm only gonna give it a 5.
You're only gonna give it a 5. Are you being serious? Or are you just
Yes?
Okay, why?
I think it's just a little too boring the whole season. Like there was nothing that really like hooked me to want to keep watching until the very last episode where we reveal like who Sauron is and kind of all these questions are being answered. But it's just like the exciting moments of the show were kind of like there's just so much buildup for then like the battle to end very quickly. And then like the battle happens so close to the next major event, which was like the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
And then like I did kind of get bothered by when like they're like, oh, it's no longer the Southlands anymore, it's Mordor.
You were bothered by that?
I was like, bro, it was like somebody called it.
95% of people were like, "This is that is such a cool reveal to watch it burn away into Mordor."
I thought it was like a PowerPoint presentation.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was fucking awesome because you know what it is, but it was cool to see it just like, and then you're like Mordor because like you're already. I mean, you know what it is, but like
yeah. I guess there's no really way to like officiate it other than like somebody like naming it Mordor or something like that.
It would have been. It's way cooler to see it that way than seeing him say like we're gonna call it Mordor. That would have been cheesy, in my opinion. I thought that was cool, and I saw on TikTok a lot of people thought that like that reveal. Yeah, it was simple, but like it was fucking badass. Like just to me, I thought it was cool.
I thought maybe like if they did like maybe they did it on a map. Maybe, or I don't know. I was just kind of like, whatever.
You're just like your dad. You're so picky. No, I'm kidding. This is, but
see, I'm a little picky, but it's like I'm still gonna watch the second season because I'm just so excited that like we finally have more Tolkien universe and stuff like that. So
5's pretty low though.
It is.
5 is pretty low.
About 50-50. But I'm taking it as like this whole first season should have just been, it's just set up, and then second season's got to have some kind of events going on. I need larger battles. I need
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of battles though until like, you know, like the Numenores come back and then the forging of some of the other rings. Because like realistically, this is kind of Sauron's buildup still. Like This is him still creating an army. Like this is, and he does that for decades before he's like really, really like before he's like really, really like stopped. You guess what I mean? I don't know. He builds a massive fucking army, so massive that like everybody has to come together to fight it. So like, and we're just seeing the beginnings of that.
Yeah, because it was he pretty much took the hearts of the men, the 9 like kings, and then it was like the last alliance of men and elves were they were like the last like free thinkers that were willing to go and fight.
Right. So I don't know if we're gonna see like a whole ton. I think we're gonna see Durin and the Balrog fight, because that is in lore where they like fight, and I think the Balrog ends up killing Durin, like in the story. But anyways, there's gonna be that, but I don't think we're gonna see. I don't see there being large scale battles like we see in Lord of the Rings. I think there's gonna be skirmishes like we saw kind of already in the show. I wouldn't consider that like a large scale battle, would you?
No, that
the
was
village fight.
Not a large.
That was like a
battle.
skirmish.
Yeah, I want a big battle, but I also kind of want like the party system to like kick in of like, here's the group of our heroes and they're going on that journey. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be more politics and
politics, and it's going to be split parties. I mean, we have the. I definitely thought Poppy was going to go with Nori and the wizard, right? To fill that Sam and Frodo vibe.
Yeah. I thought,
when Poppy runs back up, I was like, yay, Poppy's going. She doesn't.
She just gave a better goodbye than.
And I wonder if they did that to kind of get away from that feeling.
Also, what kind? I saw something too, where the orcs are a little bit more compassionate about their own people than the Harfoots, because like the Harfoots are like, oh, if you get left behind, you're
fuck you, dude, you're gone.
You're out of here. And then like
the Uruk-hai are like,
as soon as they're dead, they're like giving them a full like funeral, and like the one guy's like kissing them and like respecting them, and then then the parents, when like the Gandalf, the stranger's leaving, the parents are just like, all right, daughter, here you go, you're leaving, you're out of here. They're like,
they were pretty much just like, here you go, you belong with him now. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, what parent would?
It's an interesting way of doing it, but yeah, I mean the Harfoots are not the hobbits yet. I think the hobbits definitely, as they get older and as they like evolve, I think that
I'm wondering
changes.
like later, does Gandalf help the Harfoots establish the Shire?
I think so.
Or like, did they discover it on their? I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
I mean, they know where they're going. They have like a destination of where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they end up just settling down. And then I bet what happens is like, because they were moving for harvest.
Yeah, they do.
So
the typical,
I wonder
like,
if they get there and then like Gandalf's like, and like makes it so like they never have to fucking leave again.
Yeah, show them like how to farm too, and like, or like that.
Well,
he
makes the land.
Yeah, he made the land
good
bloom
all the time.
Yeah,
but I don't know. This is speculation. Let's do my review here.
Okay.
8 episodes, I think is too short. I think it should have been 10. That's fine. That's just one of my things. 8 episodes. You could have had 2. You could have had a couple more episodes after what happened in the last one. They could have forged all the rings in the first season. Just saying. Anyways, I think that the first couple episodes are pretty boring. I think that there's an episode prior to the fight where I thought they were going to fight in that episode, and at the end of that episode, I was very disappointed because it was a build-up to no fight, and then there was a fight, and then the last episode was fucking awesome. I think the last episode was the best episode out of all of them. If I had to get it out of a 10, though, I'd give it like a 7.
I knew it right away. You were going to give it a 7.
7.5. It's a good show. I think that the fighting scene was really good. There was very little that I felt was cheesy. Even with like the elven spins and the elf fighting the big Uruk-hai, the massive guy, that fight was really, really cool. And like it was brutal. I mean, the blood dripping down in his face and all that. That was really cool. I thought that whole fight was really good. The cataclysm part was fucking awesome. I thought that them, because you don't know why they're building these trenches.
No.
You think they're just doing it to get across the land, but in fact there was a whole nother reason they're doing it, which I thought was awesome. Like, we knew that was a key, but we didn't know a key for what. You know, does it? I thought it unlocked Sauron's tomb or something, and he comes out. No, it's just a fucking dam. It just breaks a dam. Like, it was awesome. Thought that was really cool. I think, like, the armor, like, I think everything looks good. Okay, so I'm giving it a 7.5. I was excited to watch it, but I definitely wasn't as excited as Game of Thrones, but I'm keeping that out of my decision making here.
Yeah.
And I thought that there was a lot that I was very excited to see. Like, I was really excited to see Elrond and Doran's episodes. Like, I was really excited to see what was going to happen next with them. Every scene, every episode that had Elrond and Durin in it, those were just the best fucking time. Like, the one where he tells his dad off and all that, that was all gold. So, yeah, 7.5. How we give it? A 7.5 is what I would give it. I don't think it's as bad as what people say it is.
No, I think people are they're picking on it too harsh, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's good enough that they made enough money on it that they're making another season. It is the most expensive TV show ever made.
Yeah, even though if it's getting a lot of hate, but those people are still watching it. They're still making money off of it, so it's no reason to really stop.
The Rotten Tomato review came out.
And
85%. That's a good review.
That's
a really good review.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, that's over 400 plus reviews, and it's at an 85%. That's really good. You know, I think people thought it was going to do way worse. I think people need to get over the whole, like, just watch it and just enjoy it for what it is. Like, don't worry about it so much being tied to the books, because half of you fuckers that are complaining that it's not close to the books haven't even read the books.
No.
So shut the fuck up.
I haven't.
Yeah. So, like, just watch it and enjoy it. For the parts that you know and the people that are in it. Fuck, my mom was sitting down and watching it. And my mom was like, this is actually pretty good. My mom doesn't watch TV at all. But
yeah, I hate the, like, the Matt Walsh guy. He like watches it and, like, he watches, like, clips of it for his show, and then he goes, because of this, I'm not watching it.
isn't it?
Hey, are you seeing this?
Yeah. Wow.
What is it?
I don't know. It looks pretty cool.
I almost want to touch it.
I don't know. Maybe we should.